He had some Ryobi, so
I'm about
Ryobi reason. Flatfoot, right? He's like the tool was 100.
It's like sending that rattles.
Battery.
Oh my goodness.
They give you a service. Buy the tool.
Well, like I said, it only does it when it's really cold.
They'll give you a tool.
Well, but no, but I've been bumping at the computer. Something's
What
loose.
kind of
I think it's in the exhaust.
That was his was
What
a
is it under?
Ryobi.
There must be a
A plate.
or underneath
I
that.
don't. I think Home Depot
Going to hit.
That's
and also I think
That could be loose, or could have moved it up in a certain spot where that hanger, where it's touching the hanger that's coming down that's hanging in the exhaust.
I mean, for a year,
I'm not saying it's that,
90% of the time, it's probably
It didn't help, so anything
When's the last time we
could be
did?
the
So, you know, like that, I'd say 90% of the time it would work just fine. And it may have adjustments, I really don't know. I didn't. Right. Well, I didn't get out looking at it because I was irritated.
My neighbor, took the blade on the floor and I had problem before the drive over there. Instead of it, but then there is an override button.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Good. I'm cold.
yeah.
I am cold. But today we're going to talk about dewinterization. We're not going to do dewinterization today because it feels like -9 outside. But first thing you want to do with dewinterization is flush out the water lines. Get all the antifreeze or whatever you put into the water line, get that out. Flush everything. Get in the kitchen, bathroom, all the faucets, check all those, make sure that they come out clean. Next thing would be to go to the water heater and turn bypass valves. Make sure they are operational and filling the water heater. Put the plug back in the water heater, whether it be a plastic plug or anode rod. If that anode rod looks pretty rough, man, get a new one, pretty cheap. But you want to make sure you take care of that anode rod because that water heater can rust and crack on you if you don't take care of that. Once you've got all that flushed out, turn the bypass plugs in the water heater. You want to pressurize the system, make sure it holds water. Make sure it actually lasted through the winter and it doesn't crack or it have any leaks. Next thing, water filters. Who's got water filters? Water filters. You want to make sure that those get put back in the system. You can have the ones that hook up to your hose. That'll help with make sure the water is clean inside. After we got everything flushed out, we'll make sure the fresh tank is cleaned. We got some good stuff here. Put in the fresh tank. Kind of let it sit and actually run it through all the faucets and everything, and kind of clean the bacteria out of the fresh tank and the water lines and everything else. Anybody got any questions there? Or I move on? Yes.
What does that spring fresh do that household bleach won't do?
I don't like using bleach. I've always liked using this stuff because it's less of a chemical. It's just a better product than bleach, in my opinion. Anybody else?
How can you get that product into where your hose goes in your camper as opposed to through the tank?
So you would use this into your fresh tank. Kind of pour it into your fresh tank. Your fresh tank is a down drain, so it should maybe a little funnel or something, and you can get it into your fresh tank that way.
I'm talking about getting it in where your hose connects to your tank. Is there a way to do that?
Into your
Trailer, where your hose goes in the trailer?
for the fresh tank.
No, for the city water connection.
So the city water, a lot of those, whenever we do winterizations also, is, you can pull that little screen out that's in there and kind of push it. And just be careful whenever you do push it, it doesn't break or whatnot. But a lot of times you can push that and it'll shoot, water out. That's how we winterize city waters. But be careful, it does shoot out pretty quick. Anybody else? No? Okay. We'll talk about appliances. With bypass back on and the water heater's full, turn that thing on, make sure the gas fires up, make sure it gets nice and warm. Do the same thing with the electric, make sure it works. You always want to make sure you got water in. You don't have an element up there. Make sure you've got water in it. If you fire that electric up, don't have any water, it's going to burn that element. And you're going to need to replace the element. So always make sure we got full of water. Toilets, make sure that the water is in the bowl. Make sure it doesn't dry. Make sure the rubber gasket didn't dry or crack over the winter. And next thing is dump valves. Open those up and close them. Make sure they work. Make sure you don't have any drains or damages there. Another thing for black tank, we've talked about this quite a bit. Put that in there. It'll help with odors. It'll lubricate those valves and make them work a lot easier. All right. Anything about questions with that? Make sure your stove works, furnace works, air conditioner. Do like a short little trip, in the driveway to make sure everything works before you go out on any long trips. Questions about appliances, starting them up and getting them things going? No? Okay. Moving right along. Electrical. Everybody able to plug it in where it's at? Or you got to go somewhere? A lot of times you can hook up to the 4-H center. They'll let you hook up a little bit, test everything if you don't have that capability. You want to make sure everything powers on, works. With your batteries, great time to get them back out to the camper. Check the water level. These little tops here come off. You want to be very careful not spill it on you or anything. It takes distilled water. You want to make sure they're topped off and not dry. Throughout the summer, if you continue to leave it plugged in, it'll actually dry that battery, and then when it gets cold, it will freeze and bust. It'll make it look like it's swollen. So you always want to make sure that there is water in them, and it actually holds the charge better if there is water. Test outlets in the converter and make sure all your 12 volt and 110 outlets are working. Questions with electrical? Oh, all right. Propane. If you unhook your propane tanks for the winter, hook those back up, turn them on. Another thing would be to, right after your propane tank is regulated, you want to do a drop test. Your drop test tests the pressure of the out of the regulator to make sure it is performing as it should. If it's too low or too high, it could damage the appliances inside. And doing that, make sure you don't have any issues. And it'll make sure you can run your water heater and your furnace at the same time while also boiling some water. Really want to make sure that that's doing what it's supposed to. a lot of times if it's too low or too high, it can cause some havoc and not let things work.
Well, how do you check the pressure then?
Use a manometer.
Okay.
We can definitely do it here, get you all set up and ready to go. Well, it's called an LP drop test, and you want to use a manometer to check the water column. Super easy to do, really. Just find a quick connect on the camper a lot of times, or a lot of times we remove the stove to get to it.
What's your recommended inches of water column
I think it's 11.
on the top end? What's your bottom end that you figure? I've always used
Hold it
8.5, but
8.5 is hold pressure. Whenever you do it, yeah. Any other questions with that? Obviously, we talked about testing all your stove, furnace, water heater, refrigerator, making sure those work. Nope. Interior check. It's more of a open up all the windows, open the doors, getting out if you put any moisture absorbers in there, clean the camper, get it all ready and set up. Test your smoke alarm, your LP detector, which is a lot of times your CO detector too. Just check all those and make sure everything's working, all your lights are working. Inspect the cabinets, flooring, make sure we don't have any wet spots or damaged areas from the snow or the cold or the rain. Got any questions on that? I know I'm flying through this, so. Nope. Okay.
Got a question.
Yes.
I need to check the part with the nuts up.
So a lot of times those are LP and carbon. And they have push buttons on them to make sure they're actually working. But you have to have 12 volt for that. You've got to have a good battery on the front of the camper.
So you don't have to test gas actually.
No, we don't have carbon to throw at it and test it that way. You can open a bottle of LP and shoot it into it. That's about it. Other than pushing a button like a smoke detector. Anybody else? Okay. Exterior inspection. Roof, sides, lights, making sure everything looks good on the outside, nothing's beat, damaged, or broken. Roof, we want to make sure we seal the roof. We don't have any problems there with leaks or cracks. It's also a good thing after you clean it, you want to seal it to cover up all the cracks. Your exterior on the side of the unit, really clean that thing and make sure we don't have any cracks or seams there. Kind of the same thing, make sure those are all working. Good time to hook up to it with the 7-way. Check your brake lights, turn signals, clearance lights, make sure they are all working properly. Inspect the awning, run it in and out, check vents, covers, little crank up vents, make sure they don't have any cracks, make sure they go up and down. Tires, check tire pressure, make sure they're still good, make sure they're not dry rotted or any cracks. If you've got a torque wrench, maybe check the lug nut torque. They are different for each individual lug nuts per trailer. So just get with manufacturer, get with us, and we can let you know what you've got, what the torque is. When you're hooked up with the 7-way, you can kind of pull it forward a little bit, test the brakes, make sure they're working as they should. Check your hitch, safety chains, tongue jack, make sure it's all working. Make sure there's no critters underneath or unfriendly visitors that we don't need. Seal saver and RV lube for your slides. Gotta spray those on there, get those ready for the season. Make sure slider room runs in and out. Any questions there on exterior?
Yeah.
Yes.
You recommend packing wheel bearings every year?
So the manufacturer says 12 months or 12,000 miles, whichever comes first. And that's kind of my thing too, is I recommend doing that at least once a year. If you're doing long trips, you want to make sure you're doing those to maintain the brakes in them and the seals and bearings, which when we rate pack, we don't actually replace the bearings unless they have any pits or scarring or they are damaged. But yes, I do recommend at least once a year. Yes.
Give a service price just to do that.
Yes. You come see me after this, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yes, we repack bearings here, change tires, we can do all that, get that all set up for you.
Probably all pretty experienced, but you might want to talk about the date code on the tires.
Take code, yeah. So there are 1, 2, 3, right, there's 12 digits on a tire that are really kind of important. It says DOT in the front of it. The DOT, it just tells you where the tire's made and what the assembly line was. The last 4 are the really important ones. It is the week and the year the tire was made. So if it's 23-24, it's the 23rd week of year 2024. Recommended to make sure the tires get replaced every 4 to 5 years, because a lot of times they'll start showing dry rot. But DOT code, the last 4 is the really important ones. The week and year. Anybody else? Nope. All right. A little final prep. Restock supplies. That's a major one. I mean, you get to a campsite, forget toilet paper. That's a pretty rough deal. You have to go out and buy some more. Make sure everything's supplies, hoses, chemicals, all the stuff you would need to go camping. Make sure you've got it. Or if you want, do a little trip. Make sure you do a little trip close by. That way, if you do miss something or something's damaged or broken or doesn't work, you can easily get it back in and get it fixed before a long trip somewhere. Really ran through my list here. Anybody have any questions? No? Yeah.
On tires, you know, it's got a recommended tire pressure. Do you put it at that number? Or
I don't. I put it what the trailer says. A lot of times people will upgrade their tires and get a better tire.
So you put it at that pressure?
I put what the trailer says, what the manufacturer recommended. Yeah. Trailer tire could say 80 on it, and trailer only says 60. So that is what I put on there is 60.
Right. So my tires and the trailer agree with it.
They will be different a lot of times. And, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about dry rot?
Dry rot on the tires. Okay. A lot of times they weather, sun, a lot of times concrete will actually make them dry rot faster. It kind of sucks the moisture out of the tire. And also letting them sit for an extended period of time, you know, kind of puts flat spots in them too, makes them dry rot. But really what you want to look for is the cracking in between the treads. Make sure there is none of that. And it also goes on the side of the tire as well, along the rim and the edge of where the tread meets the sidewall. Just really want to look and make sure there's nothing, no cracks in there. Cover that? Okay. Yes.
I think we would all strongly recommend, don't go past 4 or 5 years. You don't want to blow out.
No, definitely don't want to do that. If you've had a blowout, it's
China bulbs.
Just replace it.
just replace it.
Yeah, I was
Say
going
4
3
years.
old.
Sometimes insurance claims are cheaper than replacing a set of tires in the long run. Right. Anything else? Yes.
I notice when I pull in the campground or pulling in and out from the house, my suspension pops and cracks in this camper I have now worse than any I've got.
Yeah.
If I put greasable certs in the shackles, will that stop?
It won't stop. It'll definitely help and reduce the noise. I mean, anytime you're out here with us moving with a fork truck, we turn them really tight. There is that popping and what you'll hear. But yeah, you can definitely grease them. It'll slow it down and make it less noisy, but it will still kind of be there.
Can you just pull the bolts out that's in it, clean them up and grease them and put them back in? Will that help?
Haven't had anybody do that. If you do it, let me know. I haven't had anybody take the bolts out and grease them. A lot of them will add certs into them and grease them. And you can notice a difference. It'll quiet it down a little bit when making those hard turns.
Also, in backing up, you recommend taking weight distribution off or leaving it on?
So if you've got a sway control, which is the one that hooks up
Right.
to the balls on both sides, that you want to take off.
Right.
But if you've got a normal equalizer weight distribution hitch, then no. You can keep those on. It's not going to hurt anything. And a lot of times it actually keeps the truck and trailer level. So if you get into a hill or a little bend in the road, you know, it makes sure it doesn't rub either. Definitely keep those on when backing up. But the sway control that actually hooks to a ball, remove that. Because I've seen a lot of those bend. They tend to bend pretty easily. You can even loosen them all the way up, but if you get into a tight turn, it's over. It'll bend them and it'll break the balls.
Okay.
Yeah, or they even sway. All right. Anybody else? You got me for another 5 minutes? Any questions? Thank you. Appreciate that. All right.
Just have a pressure gauge or manometer or something that you put in the gas line, you know, where you got a quick connect.
For the LP,
Yeah, do you sell such thing?
we do not sell them. Well, everybody in the shop does have one. I think you can get them at a hardware store. When you want to look for a manometer that tests water column for LP. And a lot of times they just have a hose on the end of them, and then you would put your attachment onto it. Like a lot of the guys have different attachments for an LP quick connect, or some of them have screws that they can screw on to the LP line, to the copper line that's there, or rubber hose. Yeah, so It just comes with a empty hose, and you gotta make your own attachments.
He used to carry a line, I don't know if they still do or not. I got mine at Johnson, I guess, contractor. But Ace used to have
Yeah.
a manometer.
A lot of your hardware stores should. All right. I think that's it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, test your engine, I'll make sure it's not.
Oh,
Check
one
it.
more thing. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Check off the name.
I don't know if it's in it.
So it's easy to stand up.